We like that. Woo!
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull Up Show. My name is BJ Matthews, aka B Jizzle. Before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe, all of our YouTube videos by hitting that notification bell. You know what I'm saying? Let's get it popping. All right, man. Salute to my man Bubble Chuck. He said, "Oh, don't let me cook John Wall on this topic." BJ, salute in advance. Appreciate you, little bro. Deja Mercies, what's good with you, man? We have a great live for y'all tonight, today, man. I'm actually out of town. I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, right now for my little brother's basketball tournament. So we are getting ready for that. A lot of high action basketball. So we're gonna talk about a topic that I hear somewhat people kind of echoing in the sports world, like Undisputed and ESPN First Take and all these little other YouTube channels about who's going to be starting between John Wall and Reggie Jackson, right? Now, obviously, I got a lot of Clipper fans on this page, a lot of basketball fans in general. I love each one of y'all. My man Showtime, probably the biggest Clipper fan. Outside a couple people, it's outside of me and other people. He said, "What's good, my boy? What's good, brother?" He said John Wall should start to me. We're gonna get to all that, big bro. So let's get into business, man. Um, who should get the starting job between John Wall and Reggie Jackson? Who should get the starting job between these two? Now, first thing is first. I don't know if y'all knew or not, but John Wall and Reggie Jackson have somewhat of a little bit of a history, meaning that they had somewhat, I wouldn't call beef, but there is some history between these two that I'm glad both of them got over. It seems like mutually, and it's actually helped him. I think it's going to help him throughout the season. Um, John Wall sat down, I guess, with Tamar Alizari a few weeks ago after signing his waivers to come to the Clippers, and he spoke a little bit about his relationship with Reggie Jackson. And you can see the headline. See, John Wall says on Reggie Jackson, "Me and him are cool. We've been cool." So I'm trying to figure out when were you guys not cool. You know what I'm saying? So I think probably back around 2014, 2015, when Reggie Jackson was on the Pistons, he signed from the OKC Thunder to the Pistons on a 4-year deal. Um, People were complaining that John Wall, I think right after he got injured or something like that, y'all know he tore his ACL, a very uh, serious injury that he tore his ACL back in 2000, was it 17? And people were critiquing with John Wall, he should, earn the money that he gets. And then John Wall came back with a comment, said that, they got guys out here, making 4 years, $80 million. And people jumped on and said that John was talking about Reggie Jackson because, Reggie Jackson just signed that big deal. But the problem is, John Wall said that you got all these people making this money, but they haven't even made an all-star team. So that was the words that John Wall spoke out about. And I guess him and Reggie got over the situation now that they're teammates now. Tamar Lazari said, "I asked John Wall about his Reggie Jackson comments years ago. He said, me and Reggie been cool. We even talked about it when it came out. It was no hard feelings, no love lost. I know people are going to try to bring it up and try to get something out of it, but there's nothing there to be found." Right. So John took it upon himself. I don't know who came to who, but I'm pretty sure I think John, knowing who he is as a person off the court, I'm pretty sure he came to Reggie and, started that communication because he's the one who spoke out and said something. So he's speaking out on Reggie Jackson earned that huge contract after he left OKC. You know what I'm saying? He went to the Detroit Pistons. Right. That's what happened with Reggie Jackson. Okay. So yeah. So all in all, that issue's dead. Also, Reggie Jackson spoke about John Wall coming to the Clippers as an acquisition, and that's what he had to say. In a little bit of a nutshell, Reggie Jackson said that a few weeks ago, John Wall, the LA Clippers new sign, didn't hesitate to acknowledge Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson Damon is an irreplaceable role in Los Angeles. His words of acclaim were followed by his explicit intention to accept any role moving forward. A few days ago, Jackson The fourth-year Clipper answered it with rounding words of his own in an interview with Clutch Points. So just a quick little quote that Reggie Jackson said, in response is that she said, shoot, if we can get just 85% of what John is, we're getting quite a steal. Now, and this is the thing I want people, and I don't want to get off track too much because this is about John Wall and Reggie Jackson. But I want people to understand, man, if they get John Wall at 80%, bro, you literally getting a guy who's a perennial all-star. Now, John Wall said something very, very important in his last interview with Tamar Lazard. He said that his Achilles never bothered him. His Achilles ain't bothered him, right? And that's kind of crazy to hear because, speaking to somebody who's tore their Achilles, me, like that, especially if you're explosive like John, that's somewhat's going to bother you. Your foot quickness, you know what I'm saying, up and down the court, lateral quickness, jumping, all that stuff's going to be affected if you tear your Achilles. That hard part on the back of your foot that, goes from your calf all the way down to the bottom of your leg, that's your Achilles attachment. And you snap that. You can't even walk. But John said that it hasn't affected him to the point where he can't play. You understand? Now, last year, he wasn't out for injury. He was out because he felt like he should have been starting for the Rockets. So this ain't a situation where John is coming off an injury. He's been healed. He's been ready to play. He's been hungry to play. But he said he ain't going to sit on the bench and play behind, rookies and second-year players like, Jalen Green and dude from Seattle, Kevin Porter, or some like the guy from Seattle. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I think his name is Kevin Porter, but Josh Christopher, guys who are second-year players and rookies, he wasn't finna play behind them. So that's what that was. So now you got a guy, John Wall, who's healthy, who's motivated. Bro, like I said in my last stream, John Wall, just about 4 years ago, was a top 3 point guard, top 5 point guard with Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, Damian Lillard, and Chris Paul. John Wall was in that company right before he got out. Okay, but let's talk about John Wall and Reggie Jackson, who just started. Let's talk about Reggie Jackson, his resume, because this is what this conversation is going to be about. Reggie Jackson, his resume is it's pretty simple. He's been in the league for 11 seasons. And these are his statistics right here, man. These are his statistics. Averaged a career high of 13 points. If you look at the bottom one, 13 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and 0.7 steals. That's been his season. For the playoffs, 12.9, 3.4, 3.3, 0.6 steals. Because those are the main stats. I'm not going to go into all the blocks and turnovers. I'm talking about the main stats, points, rebounds, assists, steals, okay, for his position. His accomplishments on top of it, no championships, of course, no all-star games, no other awards, honors of that sort. So Reggie Jackson, if you look at his career, though, if you look at last season, he increased his stats off his career average. He averaged 16.8 points, which is 3 more points than he averaged in his career. 3.6 rebounds, more rebounds he's ever averaged. 4.8 assists, more assists he's ever averaged. 0.7, which he's averaged the same his season statistics. So that's Reggie Jackson's resume in a nutshell. Pretty much a solid, what you could say, backup point guard, and who can disguise himself as a point guard if need be, like he did last year. But if we look at John Wall's resume and see what y'all keep smashing that like button, if we talk about John Wall's resume, this is what John has accomplished in his time in the NBA. Let me pull this up for y'all so y'all can see. So here's his accomplishments. John Wall is, and move this out the way, 5-time All-Star in 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18. Did not play because of injury, of course, his ACL. All NBA third team once back in 16 to 2017. The same year I said he was a top 5 point guard. He was on the All NBA third team, so he was considered one of the top 15 players in the NBA that year, that season. The year before that, he was All NBA. Well, a couple years before that, he's All NBA defensive team, second defensive team. from 2014, 2015 season. And of course, all NBA rookie team 2010 and 2011. Okay. That's what John Wall did as far as his career accomplished. So that's a pretty solid point guard. You talk about his career averages, season average 19, 4, 9 assists, and 1.7 steals. In the playoffs, he's averaged 21 points, 4 rebounds, 9.8 assists, and 1.7 steals. Okay, so a couple things. If we compare John Wall and Reggie Jackson as players, based off their careers, I mean, John Wall is the superior player. He's the better player than Reggie Jackson. Like I said, Reggie Jackson, if you look at his statistics, is basically like you're looking at a guy who's somewhat of a very, very good role player, second backup point guard. Okay. If you get a guy like a John Wall, you're looking at a actual starter for your team. That's what you're looking at. Now, this is still, well, why is this still a conversation? If it's such a flush, then why are people still asking, is John Wall going to start Reggie Jackson? My little brother plays with Keith said, BJ, is there any way possible John could play point and Reggie has shooting guard? Remember he played some shooting guard. Nah, because Paul George is going to be playing shooting guard, little bro. PG's going to play shooting guard, and Kawhi's going to be playing small forward. So they're not going to be able to put Reggie over Paul George. That's no one's going to do that. But if going back to my question, if this is such an easy flush, then as far as accomplishment statistic wise, then why is it that people are asking who's going to start between John Wall and Reggie Jackson? Is this just because of what the media says, what they think, or is this because Ty Lue coming out and saying, like, to John Wall when he first came, saying, like, don't think you're just going to start easily, like you have to earn your spot? Is that why? Because if I look at that, it's pretty simple as far as who would I pick as far as my starters or my starting point guard. But that's not even it. Everything's about fits. When it comes to building a team and a roster, everything's about fits. What fits? What goes together? And if I look at the Clippers starting lineup, you're gonna have, let's say the point guard is vacant right now, but you got the first starting five is gonna be PG, that's a shooting guard, Kawhi is a 3, Nicholas Batum as the 4, and Vince Zubac as 5. That's gonna be the starting 4 with John or Reggie. Now, Reggie, I think what happened is that, again, like I said, he had career highs last season. It's not a coincidence he did, because PG and Kawhi were out, and he had to take more of the load. Guys like Marcus Morris, guys like Reggie Jackson, guys like Terrence Mann, guys like Luke Kennard, Amir Coffey, Brendan Boston, these guys got a chance to actually play up because of the injuries that were sustained on the Clippers. And that's why you saw Reggie Jackson looking the way he was looking, even in the playoffs. Reggie Jackson was looking like, that's why they gave him Mr. June, because of what he did in the playoffs in 2021. Like, Clipper fans love Reggie Jackson because of that one playoff series, the way he showed up, the way Paul George showed up. So that's why you can kind of disguise yourself into a bigger role, but that's not really your actual role. Y'all see what I'm saying? Y'all get what I'm saying? For the most part of Reggie Jackson's career, he's been a backup. He was a backup in OKC behind Russell Westbrook. That was his role. I remember him in OKC. He would come in and actually give the firepower to the Thunder, like he does with the Clippers. He brings that spark offensively. That's what he was. That's what he's been. He goes to a team like Detroit and try to feel like he can be the number one option. And he had some good moments, but he also had a bunch of moments where you could see he's not the type of player that you're going to look to lead your team to a deep run in the playoffs. But, good for him. He got his bread. I think 4 year, I think $80 million. So, and he had a right to take that risk, because, it's the NBA is competitive and you have to, get the money when you hot. But again, this was a situation where Reggie was playing up higher than what he's supposed to. Next season, Once everybody's back, he's gonna be even better because he's gonna be able to settle in his actual role, which is a backup PG. You know what I'm saying? Um, Marco Bro said they ain't bringing Wall in to come off the bench. They just don't want to dog out Reggie because he's been on. Yeah, but I don't think Reggie it would be dogging him out because I think Reggie. Look, I played ball too, man. Like, and there's been times like you're not gonna physically outsay it because you don't want to. You're a competitor, but deep down, you know if somebody deserves a spot over you. Like deep down, and based off of just you know if another man or another player is better than you, or at that moment a better choice for the team. But because athletes have so much pride, they don't want to ever feel like somebody else has a leg up over them. But based off of just John Wall, his resume and his career and what he's done, I mean, this is a situation where just is he's a better not only overall player, but he's a better fit because again, Reggie's a scorer. Like he's not the guy who's going to facilitate and get his guys, open opportunity. His strong attributes to come there and be a spark offensively and score the ball. That's what he is. John, he can, as ironic as it sounds, he's not the type of scorer that Reggie is as far as shooting the ball. He's not the type of shooter he is. But John Wall can score the hell out the ball when he has to. And he's just as good of a passer. People don't understand how much John Wall sets up guys. He's averaged 9 assists in his whole entire career. 19 points and 9 assists for your entire career. You're flirting around being a Hall of Famer. Right? So you put John Wall with Kawhi PG. First off, you got a guy who doesn't have to score to make an impact. Wall will get his guys. He'll be happy with getting his guys, easy opportunities to score. I think he'll be great for those two. I think he'll fit right with Nicholas Batum because Nicholas Batum doesn't have to score either. He just, is a good 3-and-D guy. And then you got Zubac, who I think Wall will flourish with because off that pick and roll, Wall being such a great guy with decision making and pushing the pace, he's gonna get Zubac so many easy opportunities to score. That Reggie again, he gets off of scoring and shooting. So you don't need that in the first unit. What you need is Reggie in that second unit with Norman Powell, with Terrence Mann, with Marcus Morris, and Robert Covington. That's who you need Reggie with because those guys you can see they'll be able to keep the pressure on offensively with scoring the ball. That's what you need Reggie at. That's where you need Reggie to play at. Hope y'all still with me. Keep hitting that like button. You need him in the second group. Y'all hear what I'm saying? You need Reggie in that second group to allow him to score. Y'all understand? Like, and then that way you can start. That's why you keep again, this is about the team. What's best for the team? To keep the continuous pressure on opposing teams, you have to make sure you find the right, and this is Ty Lewis' specialty. He'll find the right lineups to put in the game in certain moments. There might be games that John Wall might finish, but then there might be games where they need more shooting and more spacing on the floor that they'll put Reggie in. So it's not going to be somewhere, okay, every single game is going to be lined. But I'm going to say, for the most part, if you're talking about, because again, it's about what's making Kawhi and PG make it easier for them and the starters. John Wall can do more things than Reggie Jackson, and he can play defense. I remember thing I saw with Reggie a lot last season. He is a liability on D. John has always been somewhat of a very good two-way player. So you've mixed that in with his facilitating, his getting people involved. You pretty much got a souped-up Rajon Rondo. Remember that year when they brought Rajon Rondo in like halfway point at the trade deadline? And the Clippers thought that they had found their leader, which Rondo is, but he doesn't have the athleticism nor the speed nor the defense that John Wall has. So you pretty much got a souped up Rajon Rondo. So I'm telling y'all, man, the Clippers really got to steal. I'm telling y'all, John Wall is not. He ain't walking around like he hurt, man. He walking around like I'm ready to play. I got my money. I'm ready to go, man. I'm not trying to sit around and wait now. I'm trying to win. He already said that he's willing to take, backseat behind Kawhi and PG, but he's ready to win right now, man. Like he ain't trying to continuously wait and like, oh, I ain't ready to play. Like, this man's ready to play. But I think if you bring if you bring Wall as a starter and Reggie off the bench, teams are going to be in trouble. You understand? Teams are going to be in trouble. But I dropped the link, man, for y'all to come in here with me, man, and cook. And what y'all thoughts about it? You think John Wall should start? You think Reggie should start? Do you think Ty Lue has his mind made up? Um, why do you think Reggie should get over John Wall? Why do you think it's such a conversation? I'm gonna let y'all, in here. I'm gonna let y'all cook. And yeah, we're gonna get it going. Hope everybody's having a great Saturday. Um, hope everybody's having a blessed Saturday out here, man, being safe. And everybody has good vibes. Was the most important thing. And if you guys like to show love to the podcast, it's in the ticker. Y'all can see the Cash App right there, $ BJ Matthews. Definitely appreciate all the love that y'all come in here, man. For real. Like it's very humbling. Very humbling. You know what I'm saying? It's very humbling to have support of so many people. And yeah, give it a few minutes. Anybody will come in. If not, we were going to end the show at this point. If y'all have any more questions, put them in the comments and I will continue to answer. Marco Brolo said Ty has always understood space and look at those Caps teams with LeBron. The Clippers are one of the best shooting teams in the league. I think top five. Wall got guys, easier shots in Washington now. Yes, so many choose. Yeah, and that's the thing. People don't get how big, how much Wall didn't have a lot in Washington to work with as far as spacing, and it still averaged those amount of assists per game. Is just a testimony to how great of a playmaker he really is when you put the right pieces around him. Right? That's what Wall was. So I don't think no, and that's the thing. He ain't washed. There's no way he was just averaging 20 points and 9 assists for the 2020 to 21 season. That's not washed. That's you can still play and you know your worth. But I don't know if Ty and I don't think this Ty would do this, but I don't know if John's really believing like he's gonna have to compete for a spot. He's gonna do it because he's a competitor, but I think in the back of his mind, he's thinking, you know what, I am the better player. My resume speaks for itself. He's not gonna publicly say that because he don't want to call it so disparate to the team, but that's that's what a competitor's mindset is at that point. Like I've earned my starting position based off of my merits and what's best for the team. So I'm excited to see what Wall's gonna look like, man. I'm excited. Mr. Thomas, what's good with you? What's up, God Clipper Nation? Yes, sir, man. Hey, man, can you guys believe that training camp starts approximately in less than 2 months? I feel like we just ended the season like a couple weeks ago. They were just in we just finished the playoff finals a few weeks ago. So you said not even a Clipper fan, bro, but I'm definitely gonna have to watch. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you don't have to be a Clipper fan to see what's going on. Like you can just even if you're not a Clipper fan, you want to be a part of like you want to like see what's going on. Like you want to like experience it. You want to like because they're going to be that dangerous. There's only two teams, in my opinion, that is going to be they're going to be the this is my Western Conference Finals. It's going to be the Clippers and the Warriors unless they're in the same side of the bracket. Michael Briller said that Reggie Norman Palace is great, but yeah, that's a thing. See, okay, look, Reggie again is a scorer. He's a shooter. That's what he is. Norman Powell is a slasher who can shoot the three and he tries on defense. I wouldn't say he's a lockdown defender, but he is a solid defender. So you got not only a guy in Norman that can play offense, but will be willing to play defense. That's gonna give Reggie more opportunities to be more of a scorer because he doesn't his backup his backcourt running mate doesn't have to score to make an impact. I'm telling you, that second unit is going to be they're going to be forcing to give Reggie looks. They're going to be finding ways to give Reggie looks. Terrence Mann's going to be finding a way to get Reggie looks. Mook is going to get his looks because I mean he's a sharpshooter of the team, and then Rocco can shoot threes when he has to, but again he's like a platoon. He takes his pride in his defense too. He's going to do what's do the little things for the team. So he's going to even set picks for Reggie and get boards and run the break and stuff like that to keep Reggie happy. He said, imagine their small broad line, they can throw Covington at center. They have something to throw. Yeah. And when I seen from Golden State, it looks like from what I saw like a post. I don't know how true it is, but they said Kevin Looney's going to be starting at the center position. So I don't know if Kevin Looney's going to be starting over Wiseman. Wiseman's just going to come. Like, I'm just not sold on the whole Wiseman thing, man. I'm just not. I'm not sold on it. The dude played 5 games in college. He hasn't played in the NBA at all. I think has he played in the NBA yet? I'm not even sure. If he has, it's been a very limited amount of time. But I'm not sold on Wiseman. I don't think he's the guy that people are trying to make him out to be. I think he's going to be what he is a backup. I don't know. I don't think he's going to be a very, very like dominant player. So, but you talk about the Clippers with that lineup of Rocco, Mook, Terrence Mann, Norman Powell, and Reggie Jackson, bro. That's a lineup with grit and scoring and shooting. And then you just constantly replace guys, circle players in and out. You know what I'm saying? Mix it up with a balance of defense and toughness and scoring, nonstop scoring. That's what they need to mix it up with. And they got so many guys. And I didn't even talk about Luke Kennard, their 3-point specialist. I didn't even talk about him. And then they got Amir Coffey, who went off last year, but I don't think he's gonna get many minutes. The Clippers' issue is they're gonna have to find a way to get guys minutes. Like, you know, they might have to find a way to get, you know, Kennard and Mann and who else? Coffey, if he stays with the team. Because Coffey, he rode the bench I think he didn't play at all in the last playing game. That's how deep the Clippers are. But that's a good problem to have because you can float. That's why I say Ty Lue isn't just going to stay with one set lineup. He's going to continuously do different lineups and find in situations and scenarios. It's based off the situation. You might find a team that you're playing up against who's big. Okay, was Zubac's going to have to play more minutes, or we might have to go against like a team like Dallas where Zubac gets killed in the pick and roll against Luka. You have to put Robert Covington and give him more minutes. Like Ty Lue will sit you down for the whole game or series. He's about what's going to help them win. He played that rookie year, then got hurt. For going to say they're not going to need him to be a star. They're not going to need him to be a star for most teams, but when they play us, our depth matches their depth and probably even more. So they're going to need him to be as productive as he can. If he's going to be limited, that's going to be a notch in the belt for the Clippers because Ty Lue finds a way to make everybody effective. And from what I keep hearing, James Wiseman, Kevin Looney ain't it. He ain't gonna be the one to deal with no Robert Covington because again, first of all, Robert Covington can play on the perimeter, and he's more athletic than Looney. And then Zubac is just too big for Kevin Looney. He's just too big. He played well in the playoffs against the Grizzlies, um, and against the Mavs. He played well, but who was their centers? They didn't really have really good size as far as the front court. They had Jaren Jackson, but Steven Adams he didn't play until Game 4, and then Jaren Jackson plays on the outside, and then you had the Mavs who was their center. So it was easy for Kevin Looney to break that up. But with us, he ain't gonna be able to deal with our bigs or our small ball. He's gonna be a liability. Yeah, y'all, he keep hitting that like button. Uh, said Luke Kennard shot 45% from the three. The Clippers are gonna have some decisions when these cats have. I think yeah, you're right, and that's the thing. They're gonna have to unload some contracts. But what I think is happening is they're gonna do everything for this year. They're gonna get these guys. They're gonna get a championship, and then once they get this championship, then players are gonna have the opportunity to venture out because this is a year for the Clippers to really show the world, NBA world, just how special they are. So if they win this championship, then they'll be comfortable. They'll accomplish the true goal of what it means to be successful, and then they can go on from there and let other teams get their services. What up, Bruce?
Hey man, what's up?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. I didn't even know you were on. I was uh I was praying, so I don't know. I didn't even know you were on.
Oh, that's what's up, man. I did mine this morning.
Yeah, and I see that you're talking about John Wall or Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, I want to hear your take, man. Like, do you think it's an easy choice, or what you think? What you think?
I think Reggie should start because he's been playing and he deserves to start because he's been the Clippers last year. He was the Clippers last year. Even though Paul George played some games, but Reggie Jackson was the Clippers last year. When he didn't play or when he went on the bench to take a breather, the Clippers struggled. When he plays, the Clippers were thriving. So I think Reggie Jackson deserves to start. And if John Walls ends up playing better, John Wall should start. But to me, Reggie Jackson should start.
Okay. What about the fits, though? Do you think Reggie would fit with the start lot better than John Wall?
No,
So you think Reggie wouldn't fit better than John?
um, you mean play together in the starting lineup?
Yeah. Do you think John would be a better fit for Kawhi, PG, and Nico and Zubac, or do you think Reggie would?
I mean, is John Wall a spot up shooter?
His
I
shots
don't.
improved. I don't think. Oh, in Houston, when he played with Houston, he showed he can shoot the three. He's not the shooter that Reggie is. Um, but I think what he can do better is he can facilitate to Kawhi and PG
I mean,
and play defense.
John Wall coming off the bench could be lethal, could be great for the Clippers, to me. But I don't know if you think that John Wall should start. I don't think it's good, but I don't know.
You think John Wall is somewhat like a little wash?
Um, I haven't seen him play. I don't know if he's washed. I don't like calling players watch. I usually say they're done, whatever. I think wash is more disrespectful. Uh, But I haven't seen him play, so I don't know. But I seen flashes last year. He played for Houston. I don't know why Houston let them down. Maybe they were trying to get a higher draft pick. But I mean, he can still play. He can still contribute.
Yeah, he sat out because they wanted to play the backup point guard, and they wanted Jalen Green and Josh Christopher and Kevin Porter Jr. to, they wanted to move a new direction. So John was like, "I'm better than backup." So that's why he sat out, and that's why I think people got to remember he didn't sit out because he was hurt. He sat out because he felt like he should have been starting. But Houston felt like they wanted to, they were so bad it didn't make sense to start him.
I see. But I was never like I never saw John Wall like a really great player. I think he had talents and skills, but he's okay. But if I had a team, I would not choose John Wall. I would not pick John Wall, honestly.
Okay. And you think so? You're not. So why you think he'll be better off the bench, like Lethal and not Reggie? Be better off the bench? Because I
Because
kind of go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. You can finish. Sorry.
No, because I think you were saying you think Reggie deserves to start because what he's doing with the Clippers, and that's why I kind of opened the dialogue. Where I was like, I think with Reggie, what happened with him, he had to play a bigger role because he was called upon because Kawhi and PG were hurt, but he's never been a guy who just starts. Like that's never been him. Like he's always been, for most part, like a backup point guard. Like if you look at his accomplishments and what he's done in his career, um, he averaged more last season than he did his entire career. With he averaged 13 points career wise. He averaged 16 points last year. And all his stats went up. So he was playing a role that he wasn't used to. That's why the Clippers, a lot of times they look so tired. Like Reggie and Marcus Morris, Nicholas Batum, those guys look tired because they're playing a bigger role because they had injuries. But I look at a guy like Wall, who's always been the starter, who has multiple accomplishments, who I'm not looking at somebody who can't play or who's hurt. I'm looking at a guy who finally he's gonna get his just due to step on the court. That's kind of how I'm looking at what Wall's going through because you got Kawhi and PG in that space in that they have in the Clippers. He's playing with guys who he's never had to, he's playing with a bunch of guys in the Clippers that are going to provide so much scoring. And John averaged 9 assists his career with a Washington team that wasn't providing that type of scoring that this Clipper team would. But go ahead.
Sometimes players fit a team. Sometimes that player will never be great in another team or their original team. Like if you look like okay, they're not in the same caliber as John Wall, but I think when they changed teams, they were better. Like Otto Porter, like JaVale McGee, like Reggie Jackson. When he was in Detroit, I thought Reggie Jackson would be out of the league. And he's correct when he said that he was saved by the Clippers. And the last couple years, like 2 years in a row or 2 years, Reggie Jackson has been clutch, hitting key threes, saving the Clippers all the time. And to me, he put up the work. He put to work. He put up to work for the Clippers. So to me, he should. I mean, John Wall hasn't done anything for the Clippers. So that's why I said for Reggie Jackson's psyche or for his ego, to stroke his ego because you want Reggie Jackson to still be on the team mentally, to be with the team mentally. So I think Reggie Jackson should start. Now, if John Wall is performing well, if the Clippers want to go small, they can go small, like you said.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's another thing with the Clippers. They got so many different. They're so deep with depth that they might have a night where John Wall be better to be on the court more, and then it might be a night Reggie might be better to be on the court more. Because based off of just kind of what the situation is. What's good, Bubble?
Salute, salute, salute.
Hey
Salute,
man,
Bruce.
hey man, I know.
Good.
Salute. Yeah.
So, yeah, to be honest, I feel like Reggie should start because Reggie really earned his spot as a starter. If we talk about what he did in the playoffs and, bailing the Clippers out when they needed huge buckets, and John Wall hasn't done anything recently. You're only as good as your last game. Like, when was the last time you played? I don't trust John Wall
Put
because
30 points on us when he destroyed our team.
what'd you say?
When he destroyed our team when he was on Houston. That was less than 2 years ago.
Wasn't that 2020?
That was 2021.
He destroyed our team. Okay, all right, that's cool. But in the last season, what did he do in the last season? He
He sat out.
he was being prima donna,
I wouldn't
correct?
call that prima donna.
Okay, why is
The
that?
Rockets they made a choice by saying we're not going to start you, and they're going to play rookies and guys over him. You got to remember, John Wall's going. He's okay. The same leeway that Reggie Jackson, like you guys are saying for Reggie Jackson, because what he's done with the Clippers. That's what John Wall was saying with the Houston. He's like, man, I'm a perennial all-star. Y'all brought me here for Russell Westbrook to help James Harden. Y'all gotta remember how he got to Houston. He didn't get to Houston because he wanted to go. He got to Houston because they traded him away for Russell Westbrook to make James Harden happy. James Harden dips and leaves Wall by himself, and he leaves him with a depleted roster, and then you're gonna try to sit me. So why'd you bring me here in the first place? You might as well just let me stay in Washington. So like he looking at I'm a 5-time All-Star. You got rookies, guys playing over. That's a disrespect. Go ahead.
But I mean, they have to do what is good for the team. I mean, last season Carmelo Anthony he's a top 75 player, but he was good off the bench for the Lakers. So it doesn't necessarily mean if you're a 5-time All-Star, I have to necessarily start you. I have to do what is good for the team, and what is good for the team is you coming off the bench.
But why would it be good for them to come off the bench though?
Because I mean, Houston was tanking because they wanted draft picks and stuff like that. They wasn't playing for a championship. I don't think they was playing for a championship. Nobody thinks they were playing for a championship. You think they was playing for a championship?
No, that's what his point was. He's like, bro, you disrespect me just based off of business. You're not doing it because of I'm in the wrong place. You brought me to Houston to help you win. Now you changing your tune and you're putting guys over me that should not be over me. So you pretty much you weren't 100. You weren't straight up with me. You weren't honest with me. So that's why, and you didn't hear John Wall causing no disturbance like Harden and Ben Simmons trying to, he was quiet the whole time. He worked with the team. They were actually supposed to get him out of Houston the year before. They're working on a deal to get him out of Houston where he can be more comfortable. So now you put him with this Clipper team. That's why I'm saying I think he's gonna come out with a vengeance because he has so much inner beast inside of him right now. He's like, bro, I'm ready. I've been ready to play. He just averaged. He's only 31 years old. He's in his prime. He averaged 20 points and 9 assists last time he was playing with the Clipper or with the Rockets. This ain't a dude who's washed.
Is he still in his prime?
Yeah, you in your prime between 27 and 32.
I mean, how old is Blake Griffin? He's not even.
33.
Oh, okay.
But was Blake Griffin averaging 20 points and 9 assists
I
last
mean,
time he played?
I'm talking about you said prime age. So I'm thinking there's a lot of people who are past their prime at 27. And to me, if I want to a big shot in the playoff, I'm taking Reggie Jackson instead of John Wall.
That's why you got
Facts.
Kawhi and PG.
But if Kawhi and PG are double teamed, I'm taking Reggie over John Wall in the playoff to make a big shot.
You can't double both of them, Bruce. You can only double one. One of them's gonna get the last shot.
But bro, to be fair, when the Clippers played the Jazz and Kawhi was having a bad game, PG having a bad game, who was the leading scorer though?
Yeah.
Which game was that?
Game 2 against the Jazz.
They lost.
Bro, they lost in the fourth quarter. In the first quarter, when they was down by 15 points, it was the whole thing was Reggie Jackson.
Bro, I can pick out so many games where Wall had to lead his team. You understand when they played the Bulls, when they played the prime Derrick Rose, and
Okay,
the
cool.
Wizards beat them in that series? We're talking about the prime Derrick Rose. Like, I can pull out so – I think we forget what Wall has came from. I can pull
Can
out
I ask you a
so many
question?
games that Wall has taken over at the – go ahead.
In the playoff?
Yeah,
John Wall got walked down by 5'9" Isaiah Thomas, right?
was that a 7-game series?
It was.
So how's that walk down?
Bro, it's a walk down in the fourth quarter.
Bro, no. Walk down is what KD got against the Bucks. That's being walked down. That was a competitive series. And that got, again, if we're going by just based off of, I guess, loyalty to the Clippers, I hear it. I understand it. Because I love Reggie Jackson for us too. But if we're talking about a logical business decision and what fits and who just their resume speaks for themselves, their accomplishments speaks for themselves, how he plays both ways. Because there's a lot of times, much as I love Reggie, defense, he's a liability.
No question.
So it's like you gotta have that on the other end. Like, I mean, say you put Wall in the second unit, you put him with Norman Powell, you put him with Terrence Mann, you put him with Marcus Morris, you put him with Robert Covington. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. That's a good lineup. You could put Wall with either one of those two as a good lineup, but if he's looking to compete with Kawhi and PG, trust me, he's not going to be looking to score the ball. He's going to be looking to advance the ball and get his guys in the spots. Reggie, you put him with that first team, he's going to be looking to score because that's all he can do. That's all he can do is score. And that's going to take away shots from Kawhi and PG.
Bro, I love how you brought up a business decision. I really love that. And if you're talking about a business decision, who would you go for? Because if you look at the last few years of John Wall's career, he's been injury prone. So why would you, as a business decision, why would you want to put a guy that is most of the time not healthy in the starting role?
Same way I would put PG and Kawhi in the starting role, who's been injury prone. That injury prone stuff, we'll deal with that when it happens. But for now, I'm looking at it like he's on the court. If he's playing, it doesn't take away his ability. So because he sustained an injury, he's knick-knack here and there, I'm just gonna leave that on the bench. Not look at the fact that the dude he's a two-way point guard who has shown. This ain't going off potential, this is what he's shown. Based off of his resume, based off what he just looked like last time he played was under 2 seasons ago. Based off, look at the honors that he's received. Look at all the honors that John Wall has received over Reggie Jackson, who's never received anything. He's been a backup point guard. That's been his role. He was a backup point guard for Oklahoma City, and he thrived in that role. He thrived in it behind Russell Westbrook. There was games he would come off the bench and help out KD and Russell Westbrook. Though he goes to Detroit and he finds out it's not that easy being a starter. He doesn't even lead the team to the playoffs.
No, they made it
Wall,
one time.
which year?
20. I remember the Cavs played in 16.
When they got ran through.
Yeah.
Who
Wall,
was who was he playing with in Detroit? So
I mean, that's a great question too.
right, okay. Who was he playing with in OKC?
so he was playing with Westbrook. So of course he was going to be the backup. But in Detroit, who was he playing with to be the to I mean, so he could succeed? He wasn't playing with a lot of great teammates. And
No, my
I'm sorry.
point is,
Okay, go ahead.
no, go ahead. I'm go ahead.
You said John Wall resume for what he has accomplished. I don't remember. Has he accomplished a lot of stuff? I mean, did he win Rookie of the Year? Probably did. But after that, what did he do? I don't remember anything.
It's all right there. He's been a 5-time All-Star player every single year consistently, and NBA all third team All NBA. And that doesn't mean that means he's one of the top 15 players in the league. Reggie Jackson never been that. He was all defensive second team. He was a rookie. He was all NBA rookie first team.
Mm.
So it's like if we talk about just resume and accomplishments, it's not even close. Who's the better player? And you just said it, Bruce. He said you play with Westbrook. Of course, he's gonna be starting behind him. That's my point. Like if you put him on a bad team, he's gonna start, but the team is not gonna be successful team wise. You put him on a good team, he's not gonna be a starter. That's the same situation with John Wall. It's like you put him with good players, he's gonna be off the bench.
Did you see Reggie Jackson last 2 years? I don't think you remember. He
Mhm.
was last year was playing with Westbrook. He was laughing and killing him. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He was carrying the Clippers. He was the Clippers last year. What he didn't did it? He was closing. And he was clutch in the playoff when Kawhi and Paul George, sometimes he was hitting big threes and go to the basket and dunk on Gobert.
Right. How many games did Reggie play last year?
I don't remember, but when he doesn't play, they don't win.
Okay. So this goes back to what I was saying. He was playing a bigger role than that's what he's used to playing. No one was he was almost retired because he felt like basketball, it didn't feel fun for him anymore. It took Paul George calling him up. It wasn't for Paul George, nobody would remember Reggie Jackson. He played 75 games. He played 75 games last season, and the Clippers did not make the playoffs. That shows you what he is as a starter.
Who was he playing with?
Bro,
With the Clippers.
he had a good enough team. If you put Wall in that situation over Reggie, the Clippers will make the playoffs.
No way. No way.
Yes, they would. Because
There you
he's
go.
done it all. His whole team, when he was at Washington, those Washington years,
He was in the
James
East.
but he had a better record.
He was in
He
the
had a better record. There were times he would be the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. And that team was not as talented as his Clipper team. And he still was taking them to the playoffs.
Oh my God. No.
It's again, you don't take my word for it. Take the accomplishments. We can go back and forth all day, and we can see who has accomplished more. It just decide who the better player is, who's been the better player since they both been in the league for 10, 11 years, and it just shows who's been the better player.
Mm.
It ain't nothing new. But I mean, if you give it to Reggie, I mean, cool. I feel they'll still make it work, but I just think just by their fit and who does what, I think you give to John.
Mm. I mean, he was so good that Washington let him go and they kept Bill. So who's better, Bill or Wall?
They didn't let him go.
They let him go. They traded him.
No. Again, Houston wanted him. James Harden wanted him. So it wasn't they let him go. It's James Harden wanted him.
So Washington had to agree because James Harden wanted him?
Yeah.
No. No, Washington.
It's a equals again. The guy that you said, and this should end it all. The guy that you said that Reggie Jackson, of course, he should have started over with. is the same guy they swap players with for an even trade. So that tells you what level he's on, what John Wall level he's on. You traded him for Russell Westbrook, who Reggie Jackson was playing behind. So that tells you what level John Wall is over Reggie Jackson. That was a
No,
even trade. That would
no,
never happen if Reggie Jackson. You're not trading Reggie Jackson for a Russell Westbrook even trade.
no. Washington was tired of John Wall being injury prone. They wanted a player that was playing all games, like Westbrook.
Right.
No, that's not, bro. They wanted him because James Harden again wanted to get off of what it was. Whoever was tired was Harden was tired of Westbrook.
But Washington didn't have to agree with what John Wall, James
You
Harden
didn't.
wants.
You didn't. But you seem like they just threw Wall away. That's not what happened. They were getting him off the contract based off because the money he was making. That was one reason why they got off of Wall,
Okay, so
and
okay,
that was the reason. And they
so
wanted James Harden wanted him.
if James Harden wants to play with Steph Curry, Golden State gonna trade Steph Curry because James Harden wants to play with Steph Curry.
You're not. But you're saying you're trying to put Reggie on the same level with John Wall. And he's not.
They're not in the same level right now. Reggie is better than John Wall.
Right.
No, what it is Reggie's played recently, and that's actually made people think he's on the level with John Wall. But
Who's
trust
more?
me, you know,
Who's
come the middle of the season, we're gonna be like, oh shit, I know John Wall. Again, the only reason this is a discussion is because Reggie Jackson he's played more recent than John Wall. That's the only reason this is a discussion. If
who's more
Wall plays
talented?
last year,
John
then
Wall.
this would be not a discussion. Go ahead.
Who's more talented? John Wall. Who's playing better right now? Reggie Jackson.
Again, you can't say that because John didn't play. You can't say right now. You have to let them both play. If they're playing and Reggie's playing better this season, they'll be the first time in their 10-year career that he's played better than John Wall.
That's what I'm
He's
saying
never,
right now because I haven't seen John Wall play. That's why I said Reggie
that's
Jackson is playing better right now.
that's why I can't give you that then.
What?
I
Okay.
can't. You're not giving, and you should be giving Wall the benefit of the doubt. I gotta see Wall play. This ain't a rookie. This ain't somebody that just came into the league. This is somebody who's been a proven player. I don't need to see Wall play to know what he can do. I've already seen him play. He ain't, and again, he
So
hasn't been hurt. He wasn't hurt last year. He chose to sit out
so I've seen Michael Jordan play. So if he wants to come back, so is still gonna be the same Michael Jordan? No.
because he's 50 years old. Nice try.
But
Uh,
John Wall is older now too. So
he's still in his prime.
I don't know. We'll see.
You think you're looking at the glass half empty. I'm looking at the glass half full.
Mm, okay.
I'll give it to let's give it to the middle of the season. We're gonna have to revisit this conversation at the middle of the year.
I'm bookmarking this conversation and I'm gonna come back. Okay.
Yeah.
Please come
Yeah.
back. I need both of y'all. Please come back.
We will. I believe John Wall. What's gonna happen to John was the same thing that happened to Carmelo Anthony in Houston
What was that?
when he was sent home after 10 games.
You said you don't believe what?
I
Wow.
believe what's
I
gonna
didn't
happen
say
to
all
John
that.
Wall is the same thing that happened to Carmelo Anthony in Houston
Wow.
when they sent him home after 10 games.
They sent John Wall home.
Now they sent Carmelo home after 10 games. That's the same situation that's gonna happen to John Wall.
When? When did that happen?
Oh my God.
2018.
They sent. Okay, I'm confused. They sent John Wall, and he's in the same situation of what Carmelo Anthony did. I know they sent Anthony home, but how does that compare with John Wall?
I'm trying to say he's gonna play bad to the extent that they gonna send him home.
Okay.
But bro, you brought up John Wall stats, right? The last time he played. Isn't these stats similar to Russell Westbrook stats?
No.
Tell me why.
He's averaging more points and assists. And not only that,
What is his percentages?
as shooting the ball, the same, it's like around 45, 46%. But again, You giving him a
It's
better team. You're
it's
giving him a
40.
better. You give him from the two is in the his career has always been in the mid 40s for his career. You're trying to limit basically based off again when you play with better players and you have more weapons around you to work with,
Hmm.
then your impact and your percentages and everything is going to go up. John has never played with the type of talent that Reggie Jackson has played with. So
Really?
give him Kawhi and PG next season. You're gonna be like, oh shit, I didn't even know Reggie Jackson. I didn't know John Wall. I forgot. Oh my bad. I forgot. Telling you.
All right, we gonna see.
I'm sorry. I only remember John Wall doing that dance, the doggy. That's the best thing I remember about it. I don't remember anything else.
That's cool. His games ain't on TV like that anyway in Washington, so you
But
have to get league
BJ,
pass to watch him play. What's up?
you think he should be on the floor in closing and crunch time situations?
Heck no.
No, it depends. That's why I said it depends of the scenario. I don't know what Ty Lue's gonna do. That's the thing. That's why he's Ty Lue. He might have a time where he has Reggie on the floor and then he have John Wall on the floor on another game. It just depends.
Wait,
But as far
if
as
you that
starting it,
great, if you that great, you need a scenario. Okay.
no, that's Ty Lue's game plan. That's who he is. He's using it based off of what can you do for me to help me win. If you have a team like, okay, when they sat Zubac and Patrick Beverly down for the whole series because they
Hmm.
kept getting killed by Luka Doncic.
Hmm.
That's a scenario. That's Ty Lue what he would do. He would put in Terrence Mann and Nicholas Batum, like the small ball. So again, that doesn't really matter to me. All I'm saying is like one guy has been a backup his whole career for the most part, outside of his 2 years with the Clippers, and that's Reggie Jackson. The other guy who's been a starter his whole career, perennial time All-Star 5 years, multiple awards, and better statistics. Anybody else, this would not even be a discussion.
So is this prime John Wall?
Let me ask you a question. Was Houston Rockets, how was that different from Washington Rockets?
I
How
mean,
how was that how was John Wall in Washington any different from what he was in Houston?
he's bigger. He's bigger. Uh, Younger teammates, rookies. Washington, he had experienced players, all-star teammate. You know,
No, I'm talking about his production. Do you think it was a difference between John Wall in Houston and John Wall in Washington? Do you think there's any drop off in his game?
when you're a bad team, you're gonna score a lot of points.
Again, do you think his production, do you think his impact, who he was as a player, was any different? I'm not
Yeah.
asking you what his team. I'm talking about with John Wall specifically. Do you think he was a different player in Houston than he is in Washington?
Yes.
How?
He was slower, not as crisp in the passes, and the 3-pointer was still not there.
So he's the same. 9 assists is pretty solid
Yeah.
for a bad team. See, that's what I'm saying. You talking about Chris passes, dude? He's averaging 9 assists.
Empty
Ain't that's what I'm
calories,
trying to,
man.
that's what I'm saying. Ain't nothing dropped off about his game. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Nothing dropped off. So it's like, and that was with a bad team.
John Wall is one of your favorite players, so I know when I like a player, I like whatever he does. I'm still gonna
John
support
Wall
him.
ain't my favorite player. He ain't one of my favorite players. I'm just like looking at it like from a basketball situation. I'm looking at it like one guy is not really a discussion if you think about it.
Mm.
It's only a discussion because you guys brought up the points because of the loyalty the Clippers have to Reggie, and then you said for Reggie's psyche. So that tells to tell you like he needs to be catered to. That tells you that he's not that guy to lead your team.
Paul George has a psyche problem too. So is it that guy?
He has okay, that's true. That's a fair point. Now, what has Paul George accomplished compared to Reggie Jackson?
I mean,
Yeah. So he's a better overall player. That's why you can give him more of a leash. But in certain things, you can just with your eyes you can see that there ain't no way in the world Reggie Jackson on Paul George nowhere near that. So that's yeah. I mean, no, he's not. You can't put him with no PG.
do you remember one clutch shot of John Wall in the playoffs?
I remember a lot of shots of John Wall.
In the
That's
playoffs?
why I said you have yeah you have to you if you don't have if you didn't have league pass or you didn't watch Washington, but go back to the Chicago series against Derrick Rose. Yeah, he had a bunch of clutch shots.
Did they win? I don't think they did.
No, they won.
I,
They beat the
I
Bulls.
remember Paul Pierce hitting a game-winning shot.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember they beat the Bulls in the playoffs, the prime
Mm,
Bulls.
mm.
So that alone trumps. And I
Wait,
ain't trying to
what
disrespect
year was
Reggie.
that?
That was in 2000 and was it? It was like early on in his career, like very early. I think it's probably his third season.
Wait, D Rose was hurt, so that's an injury riddled Derrick Rose.
Was it?
But bro, my whole thing is like,
No, that was when if he had his injury, it's like right. That was right as before his injury started. That wasn't after his injury.
wait, I thought they beat the Bulls in 2017. D Rose was
No,
gone by then.
no, they beat them early on. They were playing Derrick Rose early on in his career. I just want like they refreshing like this like his second, third season.
10, 11, 12.
Hold on, Active 57. What's up, man? Active 57.
Yeah, I just agree with somebody's comment. He said John Wall is gonna ruin the Clippers' chemistry. I agree with that.
Now tell me how is he gonna ruin it?
With his ego, like just like you said that he's a better player over Reggie Jackson because he has better career accomplishments. If he comes into the situation, Tyloo says, "Okay, come off the bench," he's gonna feel like I'm better than this dude. Then he's gonna do the same thing he did with the Houston Rockets. He's gonna do the same thing here, and that's gonna ruin the chemistry.
No, timeout. First of all, he came. Okay, that's wrong, Bubba, because he came
Okay.
and had that interview with Tamar Lazari. What did he say? He said, "If I get the starting spot, cool. If Reggie gets it, cool." That's what he already came in
I mean,
saying. Like he was, yeah,
I
he
didn't
already
see
came.
that interview.
And again with Houston, again there was a bunch of young guys. It wasn't a fact. I don't think he would have been mad if he got beat out for the spot. But if you just give it up to somebody else who ain't done nothing, I ain't got a chance to even prove my position. I mean, think about it with you. How would you feel if somebody just gave you your spot that you proven that you earned to a person that just came through the door?
Uh, I mean, in the Houston situation, they tell me to come off the bench. Yeah, I'll accept that and prove them why I shouldn't be a bench player by playing good coming off the bench.
But why do I have to prove it if you brought me here? You brought me here again to help your star player. I
And
don't
my
have to
star
prove
player's
you
gone.
again. You brought me in to help, so you're telling me I was the starter of this team. So I don't have to prove any. So I gotta prove it when you just gave it to me, and I have to prove it. Like no, what it was Houston was looking out for the Rockets and themselves, and they wanted to tank to save money. This had nothing to do with basketball. That's one thing I don't like about organizations. They'll do what's best for them, and it had nothing to do with playing ball and winning games. Like you said out yourself, this had nothing about winning games. This was about business and making money. This had nothing to do about John Wall proving himself. Dude proved himself. That's why you brought him over there. That's why you wanted him.
Mm. He has to prove. He has to. He didn't have to accept. He has to prove himself. To me,
No,
John Wall has.
not
John Wall
against no
has.
Jalen Green. Not against no rookies. No, he
John Wall
doesn't.
hasn't
Rookies.
John Wall hasn't done anything in the NBA. I'm sorry.
Okay, it depends what you
Exactly.
mean. This mean what anything means. Five All Stars.
As
You understand five All Stars? How hard that is.
mm, I
You
mean,
can't.
if people,
If
if
he hasn't done anything, Reggie Jackson sure as hell ain't done nothing.
so, really, come on, man,
Look at his resume.
come on, man.
Bro,
If
Reggie
if
got
you
the Clippers to the
All
conference
blanks.
finals.
if you
All
walk
blanks.
on
Almost.
if you walk on the street, who are they gonna recognize first? John Wall or Reggie Jackson?
Go ahead. Hey, what you saying that they recognize Reggie Jackson over John Wall?
Yes.
I don't know who you talking about. What streets you walking?
Okay. You mean in LA, they're gonna recognize
Yes.
John Wall over Reggie Jackson in LA?
Yes. Yes.
I disagree.
Especially he play with the Clippers, man. Nobody's falling over no Reggie Jackson, man.
I'm sorry. The Clippers fans love Reggie Jackson more than Kawhi.
I don't know how you can come to that conclusion.
Okay.
They
He's
loved
a
they
fan
loved him
favorite.
so much. They loved him. Again, this ain't something where we're going off of just feelings. We're going off of what actually look at all blanks. All blanks. He's averaged his highest average was last season.
Okay.
And I think Reggie played well. He played great last year. He did his thing.
All right,
But
BJ, let me ask you this. So with John Wall's resume, can you put it up on the screen for me, please? Thank you. So with all this on his resume, how many finals appearances? How many
bro,
conference finals
you
appearances?
can't go off of that. See, you're trying to put it in a nutshell. You're trying to put everything. You're trying to up the ante. I can do the same thing with Reggie, but I'm not going to disrespect Reggie like that. I'm not going to say lead a learning question. How many conference finals did Reggie Jackson? I could just say how many playoffs did Reggie Jackson lead his team. But that would be a disrespect. I don't want to disrespect Reggie, but you keep sliding John Wall when he's been to multiple playoff situations where he's been to all NBA teams. It's not a discussion. If you take the names off each and you were a job interviewer, you're gonna throw Reggie's resume away and say John Wall come to the team.
But bro, we're talking about now. You're talking
Talking
about his
about now
entirety.
too.
Yeah, I'm talking. John Wall hasn't played.
Exactly.
I
That's
So
don't
why.
have to see a dude play if he's only been 1 year removed, dude. And then last time he played, he wasn't like he was playing. I don't have to. I guess I'm different because I played. I don't have to watch a guy every freaking moment of his career when he's played 10 years. I don't have to do all that. I can just go by the feeling, by the eye test, and what I know about basketball. I don't have to watch the dude who's been doing it year in and year out his whole career, and then he played the last game of his last game against the Clippers and put it on our whole team. And the only reason he sat out again, it wasn't because of injuries, it was because of how he felt he was treated. So you get a guy like that comes into this season, dude, he's coming in with a vengeance, man. You need to go back. You need to watch that interview with him and Tamar Azari, Bubba, and then you'll probably get why I'm saying what I'm saying. He ain't coming in there thinking like, oh, I'm not gonna be limited. He's coming there with a full-fledged, with a full level of gas, but he's also coming in looking like, yo, I'm part of the team. I'm trying to help the team.
Is what I'm trying to say. If John Wall was playing with the Clippers already and did not play for a year, I would understand what you're trying to say. But Reggie Jackson has been with the Clippers for a while. He knows Tyler's system. He's
right,
been performing well for the Clippers.
right.
I'm not saying John Wall is not better than Reggie Jackson. I'm not saying Reggie Jackson in overall career, like the resume is better than John Wall. I'm talking about who has been more efficient, who has everybody seen recently. You know, it's been Reggie Jackson. If over the season John Wall is performing better, like in December, you're like, oh man, this guy is doing so well, he cannot be on the bench. Sorry, Reggie, you're on the bench. I agree. But day one, even after training camp, in the preseason. They see John Wall is better than Reggie Jackson. Okay, John Wall starts. But if Reggie Jackson is playing better than John Wall, he should start. But Reggie Jackson should have the starting position is to lose.
No,
John Wall has to earn it.
I'm
Simple as
not.
that.
I'm not. No, I'm not doing that one because see, that's what you wanted. To, okay, so he gets to start. Let me get this right. So he gets the starting role, and make no mistake about it. Over the year and a half, we know what Reggie Jackson has done. He gets the starting role over John Wall. Fair, fine, we'll give it to him. But you don't want to give John Wall that same respect when he was with Houston, Bubba. And when he said, "I've been a all-star this team, you brought me here. You brought me here to lead this team, and you gonna bring me off the bench." You said, "Oh, he has to earn it." See, that's being double talk. Either they both have to prove it, or one of them gets the right away. It can't be both.
That's
But
not the
bro,
same thing.
didn't Reggie prove himself in the 21 playoffs?
He proved himself. Yes, he did. John Wall
Okay.
proved the same. He did the same thing before he came to Houston. He was already proven. You're talking about rookies who never even touched the floor, and I gotta prove myself against rookies. No, I don't. That's not how the NBA works. That's not how getting a spot works. That's why I said it had nothing to do with basketball. It had everything to do with them tanking. That's what I'm saying. Like you guys, we got to be consistent. If we're gonna get Reggie Jackson the starting spot and John Wall has to take it, okay, I'll give you that because of what he done with the Clippers. I'll give you that. But give John that same amount of respect with Houston when he said, "I'm not touching the floor because I'm not playing behind some rookies who ain't even touched the floor."
I
I'm
didn't
not
say
doing that.
I didn't say that about Houston. In Houston, he should start because there's unproven rookies.
Okay, I was
Because
talking about
there's
Bubba. I
no
wasn't
Reggie
talking about
Jackson.
you. I was talking about Bubba.
But in Clippers core are Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Reggie Jackson.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, that's fair. And I don't have no problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. Only thing I would say is I'm thinking of Wall getting better opportunities for Reggie for Kawhi and PG. I guess I'm looking at those two. I'm looking at how I'm gonna make it life easier for Kawhi and Paul George.
Yeah, I mean, for John Wall 3 years ago. I don't know if it's the same John Wall.
John Wall a year and a half ago, man. I'm talking about when he was with Houston. He was doing the same thing.
How many games did he play in Houston? Did he
He
play
played
20
half.
games?
He played more than half the season. He played 44 games.
Mhm. How many games did Houston win with him?
Doesn't matter. You just said they're a bad team. You just said they're a bad team. So which one is it?
I
Bro, you said
mean,
he had no one in Houston. He had Oladipo. He had Cousins.
Bro, you averaged 9 assists. That's
yeah.
it. Now you got
So
two
why
of the
didn't they win?
they suck. That's why. Again, he has two of the best. He has, in my opinion, the best duo in the Clippers. I
Okay.
mean that you understand. He has the best duo in the league. You know how many assists that's going to equal?
Yeah. Is he gonna pass the ball? Are we sure he's gonna pass the
Oh,
ball?
listen, Miss Thomas is a Clipper fanatic. Now, here's the thing, y'all forget. Reggie Jackson was behind Pat Bev, and that's the only reason he was starting.
What? No way.
Pat Bev was the starter of that team.
Yeah.
So for somebody that's just head and shoulders above, he was starting behind a backup point guard in Pat Beverly who brings no offense whatsoever.
Reggie
He
Jackson
was
had to be a reserve because he was scoring off the bench. Pat Bev
Right, bro.
cannot
He was on
score.
a
and
veteran
that's
minimum.
why and there you go. That's why he needs to be going off the bench on this team because that's when he's his best.
Oh my God.
But
See
bro,
that
Reggie was a veteran
you just
minimum player.
no. Bruce already said it, and he just proved the point. He said he had to score and come off the bench to reserve to score points. That's how we got Reggie Jackson. We didn't know Reggie Jackson off as a starter. We became in love with Reggie Jackson when Pat Bev got sat down that Dallas series off the bench. That's where he's best, off the bench.
All right, bro. I got something to say to you though. So is Rondo better than John Wall?
What are you talking about? Which round are we talking about?
Rajon Rondo, the Rajon Rondo. Is he better than John Wall?
There was a point, when he was with Boston. Are you talking about
Okay.
Boston, John Rondo? Yes, he was.
So why would Tyloo bench Rondo and start Reggie Jackson?
It's not about that. I'm saying again, you're talking about an older Rajon Rondo. I'm
But
talking.
bro,
If I
John
said
Wall's old
Boston,
too.
I said Boston Celtics Rajon Rondo, the guy who was averaging triple doubles, who was a part of a big four, the guy who could play better defense, who wasn't 34, 35 years old. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about the Clipper Rondo. I'm talking about the Boston Rondo. Yes, he was better than John Wall.
So why would Tyloo start Reggie Jackson over that player?
I said it, but you're comparing an older Rajon Rondo at 35 at the time, or 34. At 20, if you think Reggie would start over Rajon Rondo when he was 24, 25, hell no, he wouldn't. That's what I mean, man. No matter how you slice it, dice it, Miss Thomas said the best. She said Reggie Jackson only started last year because Pat Bev left the team.
That's not true, but okay.
And
Reggie Jackson started in the playoff when
no, he
they
didn't.
were.
He
And
started. Go ahead.
After they benched Beverly. Yep.
So if the season, what she's saying is the season, if that was the season was redone, the Pat Bev will be having his spot back because he started the regular season before. Again, scenario situation. That's why I say I don't get caught up in too much of the lineups. It can change at any moment. Pat Bev was benched much of that series against the Mavs, but he came back against the Suns and hounded Devin Booker. So it wasn't like Pat Bev didn't play at all in the playoffs. Like there were games that he would play heavy, missing games in series he wasn't playable.
But they had to choose between Pat Bev and Reggie. Who they kept?
You say what?
The Clippers had to choose between Pat Beverly and Reggie Jackson to give money. They chose Reggie Jackson.
Or shows that they're trying to get more cap space. And Reggie Jackson, again, he was on a contract too to leave. No, and reason why, and again, context, the reason why Pat Bev left because I was on his terms. He left because they weren't paying him the money he wanted them to pay. Reggie Jackson picked his contract up. They gave Pat Bev an extension. They didn't let him go. He just didn't want that money they were giving him. He wanted a bigger deal.
But they gave Reggie Jackson the money they wanted.
No, they gave him not what he wanted. He didn't ask for nothing. He was happy for whatever he can get. He got a 2-year, 11 million, or 2-year, was it $20 million deal?
22.
Like $22 million deal.
Yep.
They offered that to him. Reggie Jackson gave no pushback. Pat Bev did. Pat Bev said I should be getting paid more. How much he asked for, I don't know, but it wasn't like the Clippers let him go. He left the team, like Ms. Thomas said. He left the team.
John Wall is the first Jason Tatum. Disappear in the playoffs. Great in the season. Disappear in the playoffs.
And you know what? That disappeared Jason Tatum is still head and shoulders over Reggie Jackson.
But Reggie Jackson would have made shots against the Warriors.
Reggie Jackson lead his team to the playoffs?
He didn't have to.
Nope.
Okay. If you had a shot to save your life, Reggie Jackson or John Wall?
I'm not going off of that. If I had a chance, if I had a foot race, if it was a fifth, we all be drunk. If we had a foot race between John Wall and Reggie Jackson, who am I taking? If we had a passing challenge with John Wall and Reggie Jackson, who am I taking? If I had a defensive assignment to guard a better point guard, who am I taking? If I had a more athletic guy who can get up and down the floor, who am I taking? I can play that same game.
Yes, but who's gonna make the shot? I know Reggie's gonna win that one.
I'll give it to Kawhi, Paul George. That's what they're for.
Okay, if Kawhi is on the bench, foul out. PG is double team. Who's making the shot?
When last time Kawhi is fouled out?
That can happen.
Okay, but what's the chances?
You just don't want to give Reggie The
No,
shot.
I'm playing the same game you playing. Cause you keep trying to box it in and trying to make the scenario to fit Reggie. You keep going back to just shooting the ball. Basketball is more than just it's more than just one dimensional.
If
You
I'm a
got other
general
aspects.
manager, I'm gonna draft John Wall over Reggie Jackson in the beginning of their career. But if I'm a general manager drafting today, I'm drafting Reggie Jackson over John Wall today.
Okay, okay, okay. That's cool. I mean, that's fair. We all got our opinions. I mean, I guess we'll just see at the middle part of this season. What to see.
Absolutely.
I can't wait.
I can't wait to
I
see
can't
John
wait
Wall like hurt again.
I
either.
can't wait.
Bro, this nigga tore his Achilles in his bathtub.
Mm.
What story did you read that off of? And it
Bro,
wasn't
it's
his bathtub. He was doing something when he was in his house. It wasn't in the bath.
I heard it was his bathtub.
Nah, it was in his house. And even with that torn Achilles and that ACL, he's still more athletic than Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, but will not make the class shot.
That's fine. I'll give it to Kawhi PG. I don't need him to. I don't need him to make the last shot. He's not the best player or the second best player. I don't need him to do that.
Okay, we'll see.
They got so many. They got so many weapons on that Clipper team. You worry about Wall taking the last shot. Marcus Morris.
I
You
will give
got
Kennard.
Luke
I will give
Kennard.
Kennard and Morris the shots before John Wall.
Yeah, that's perfect. And I don't think Wall will have a problem with that. That's why I don't get caught up in all that last second shot. I don't get caught up. I'll be like, they got so many different weapons, but Reggie would know how to give him the ball. Again, I watched him a lot this year. As many times as he played well, he was a lot of games that he was responsible because why we lost. Because he would just shot jack like 10, 15 shots, tired, launching, and then he had to be benched because there's nothing else he can do for the Clippers but shoot and score.
I saw John Wall a lot last season. He was in the second row on the bench with Steven Silas.
in street clothes.
And I'll still take Wall over him. I would take Wall with the injured Achilles ACL over Reggie Jackson, man. That's just me. So Kenneth says, so how many games will the Clippers win next year? I think they can get to 60 games.
If John
60.
Wall is on the bench.
Nah, if John Wall's playing and the whole team is healthy, I can see them getting 60 plus wins.
Yes, if he's a reserve, if he's not the starter.
No, we're past that, Bruce. You already exposed yourself. You just said that they had to use Reggie Jackson because he had to score buckets off the bench. And I said that's where he needs to come off the bench. And that's when he's his best self.
Okay. I mean, how many turnovers for John Wall?
A lot.
More than how many assists?
You saying the same thing a lot of Lakers fans were saying about Westbrook last year. Okay.
No, I'm not. I'm not. Do you know why I'm not? I said Westbrook wasn't going to fit. You can go back to my old videos, and I said Westbrook wasn't going to fit.
And John wasn't
John Wall fits because he actually passes the ball.
Isn't Westbrook doing triple doubles, passing the ball?
Dude, no. What Westbrook, and again, this goes back to watching the games. His turnover ratio is atrocious to John Wall's turnover ratio. His vision is atrocious to John Wall's vision.
John Wall's vision is better than Westbrook?
Did you not see the blooper reels?
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What blooper reel did John Wall have?
A lot.
because he hasn't played in a long time.
So 10 seasons isn't enough body of work.
Of what?
Enough body of work to create a blooper reel. So you're blaming it because he ain't played a lot, but he played for 10 seasons. So that's enough time to create a blooper reel.
John
Where's
Wall hasn't
that?
done anything for 10 season. What has he done? Every time they're
Oh,
talking about John Wall on ESPN, they show his doggy. That's what I remember.
they show Reggie Jackson crip walking. I mean, what is that? I mean, where are we going with this? Like, is this a dance off? Bottom line is that one guy has produced better off the bench, which is Reggie Jackson, which is fine. That's great. One guy has been better off the bench, and the stats show for it. And the other guy has been a actual starter, all star, all that in the league with a very underproductive team, and just been more successful. That's just what we know. That can't be disputed.
And one guy has been playing these past 3 years, and one guy decided to sit down because he was prima donna.
If that's the words you want to use, prima donna. I'm not playing by no rookie, and anybody who will do that is a damn fool.
Wait, if I said, wait, let me clear myself. I feel like he should have started.
So, yeah, I can't wait for this season. We will see what happens. I'm very excited to see what is going to be transpired this NBA season. A lot of different teams will be coming out. And yeah, been a pleasure as always, gentlemen. Bruce Morrow and Bubba always coming on, sharing y'all knowledge of the game of basketball, man.
Okay, we'll see.
We'll talk. We'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see.
Don't duck and hide once happens the middle of the season.
Bro, we're not gonna duck and hide. We're gonna be here telling you the same exact thing we're telling you right now.
When he hit the wall, don't be hiding.
Okay. All right, y'all gentlemen. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
See you, bro.
All right, brother. All right, so that was another great live between my man Bubba, Chuck, and Bruce Morrow. We appreciate y'all always coming in. If you guys want to continuously support the Pull Up Basketball Podcast, go ahead and like, share, subscribe all of our YouTube videos. You know what I'm saying? If you guys would like to show love to the Pull Up Basketball Podcast, you can go to our Cash App, right? Cash App is $BJ Matthews. Okay, that's $BJ Matthews riding the ticker, man. I love both of these guys, man. Reggie Jackson's been big for the Clippers, man. And John Wall is going to be big for the Clippers as well. And yeah, we will see y'all tomorrow with another show. We're gonna have a show with my man Rick. It's gonna be 12 Eastern Standard Time and 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Another live show. So we definitely appreciate y'all. But that being said, we say pull up a seat, pull up a chair, pull out. Peace out there like swimwear.